Episode 165 von win2day. Hockey O'Clock. Žiga Pavlin, Verteidiger. Olimpija, Ljubljana.
I don't know the financial part, but what I heard from people who are working in the club, we're stable. Like, I don't think Ljubljana was that stable at any time in Ice Liga, what it is right now or what's going to be in the next couple of years. So this is really something that puts a smile on my face because Ljubljana deserves that. And it's a great hockey town. You can ask anybody who played here, from the imports, local guys. This is one of the nicest places to be. And Ljubljana deserves to be in Ice Liga, and Ice Liga, I think, gains a lot with that Ljubljana is in the league.
win2day Hockey O'Clock.
In diesem Augenblick wird jetzt richtig hitzig. Und die Scheibe kullert über die Linie. Mittendrin stand nur der Ball. Das ist unglaublich, was die hier zelebrieren. Nice move, another nice move. Oh, he scored! Oh, what a goal! It doesn't get any better than this.
This has been long overdue. The first time this season on win2day Hockey O'Clock that we have a representative from Olimpija Ljubljana on the podcast. He is, with all due respect, the elder statesman of the team. He's one of the key cogs for a very successful Olimpija team. He's finally on win2day Hockey O'Clock, and I'm so happy to have Žiga Pavlin on the win2day Hockey O'Clock line. Žiga, thanks for doing this. Thanks for jumping onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a good thing.
Žiga, we're recording this conversation on a Monday, one day after you became the latest team to be steamrolled by Klagenfurt. You lost 8-1 in Carinthia. No shame in that. A lot of teams have been on the wrong side of lopsided losses. The interesting thing is that Vienna's head coach, Christian Dolezal, described this Klagenfurt machine as one of the best hockey teams he's ever seen. How has it been on the wrong side of a 8-1 loss? How would you describe this Klagenfurt team when it gets on a roll?
You're not allowed to give them that smell of the victory or of that shark thing. I would say that when they smell that they have you, then you're done. You know what I mean? So we did that yesterday, and they had a pretty good start of the game. They were up 4-0 after first, and once you're down 4-0 in Klagenfurt, I don't think many teams came back. So it was one of those nights. But me as a captain or other guys in the locker room, we didn't take it to the heart, that loss. We know what we did wrong, and we just got to move forward. It's that time of the year that there's no time for thinking back, and we got to focus on next games, and playoffs are coming. So that's about it.
You are the consummate professional. You are the consummate leader. These are exactly the words that one would expect from someone like you, which is why we talk a little bit about the season. We'll obviously talk about your great career. We'll talk a little bit about the state of Slovenian hockey. So many things to wrap our heads around. Let me just start with the year Ljubljana's been having so far. I deemed it a successful year after not making the pre-playoffs or the playoffs last year. You're back in the pre-playoffs. You might have an outside shot at hosting or having home ice advantage in the best-of-3 series that will follow next week. But the one thing that stands out for Ljubljana so far, and it also includes the first iteration of Ljubljana teams in the old Ebel, the goals per game that you're scoring, more than 3 goals per game that Ljubljana puts onto opponents. Offense that probably comes with Ante Upi Karhula, who's always been an offensive mastermind. It's the highest average Ljubljana has scored in its Austrian participation or international league participation. How does it feel to be on kind of an offensive juggernaut?
Yeah, for me personally, I had to adapt to that because I'm more like lately in my career now, last couple of years, I'm more like stay home D. I like that. I like to trap more, if I'm like honest. But so far with this aggressive kind of hockey with what we're playing all over the ice, I start to loving it again, playing offense, and yeah, it's working good for us. We have a young team who can skate, and yeah, Upi did a good job with that. So yeah, we're a pretty offensive team.
I had the pleasure of talking to Coach Antti Upi Karhula a couple of years ago here on the podcast, and he talked about his offensive vision for a team, why or how he wants hockey to be played. He's always been successful in that regard, especially when we think back of the Fehava teams that he coached too. But how much more strain does his offensive approach put on defensemen?
I mean, it's just like he's really open-minded, and he leaves all the tools to the guys. In offensive zone, of course, defensive zone is something else, but the offensive zone, you can do not whatever you want, but you be creative, do stuff you can do. Even if you make a mistake, do it again. It's not like he's gonna yell at you trying something. So that gives, especially to the young guys who are new in this league, kind of like wings, or they give them extra push so they can be creative. So I think it's good for the young guys, and yeah, so far we're pretty successful.
And you're especially successful on the road, and that's one of the more interesting discrepancies of the season for Ljubljana. You're the third best away team in the league. You scored 6 more points on the road or you recorded 6 more points on the road than at home. How do you explain that?
We had a tough start at home. The journalist really gave us a lot of pressure at the beginning of the year, because I think last year they didn't win, last 2 months they didn't win a home game. And then it was my first question they gave me after first loss at home. What do you think is wrong? Olimpija didn't win for 6 months at home. And I'm like, can you do that? Can you ask me again? Because I remember it was a 4-month break. It was like a summer. So those 4 months doesn't count. But yeah, we had problems in the beginning, but then somehow we managed to win a couple of home games too. But yeah, I think just playing our style in away games, it's doing good for us. And without that, we wouldn't be in a playoff position for sure.
Obviously, last year is last year. This year is this year. And that's why I still wanted to dissect last year for Ljubljana a little bit. You weren't part of that team, but Žiga Pavlin was. And I asked Žiga if he would be able to come up with an answer to the question, how would you describe the difference between last year's Olimpija squad and this year's Olimpija squad? This is what Žiga Pavlin had to say. We'll listen in together and then we'll talk about it.
The biggest difference between Olimpija last year and this year, I think is the character. I think it was first of all was built different than the previous year. Coach was really looking to have the real mindset players on the team, a little bit mix of everything, to get a really strong and great bond on the ice or off the ice. And for me, I think the most important change comparing to last year is that there are few older people, more experienced people on the team, and which, of course, at the end of the day, it helps so much more to the team. With 1 or 2 last year, that we only had. It was basically impossible to do anything. Then this year there are like at least 5 or 6 experienced players, older players who can actually make a little thunderstorm, or as you may say, in a locker room when it's necessary. When it's fun, it's fun. But when you have to work, you have to work. Especially for younger players who are coming up, those experienced guys, older guys that they can learn from. More the better for them. So I think that's the main difference for me. It helps a lot when you have 5 or 6 players. It doesn't have to be 1 or 2 same guys over and over again. You can exchange daily, whoever, is in a mood to say something, to do something. And that's about it. We're doing well, we're performing well, so we'll just have to keep going.
Incredibly interesting statement from Žiga Pavlin, and we're going to dissect this statement a little bit. He started off by saying the character on the team is better than it was last year. You've stepped into so many locker rooms before. When does your radar kind of go up, and when do you get the feeling, okay, this is a good locker room, this is a good character team? Is there kind of lowest common denominator to it?
You get that feeling like with years when it's that click in the locker room, when everybody is like, you don't have like a weakest link, or you don't have the guy who's trying to push the wagon to the other side, or he's all about his stats or all about personal achievements. So my goal was always to be in a team where it's a team first. And that's how I play by this book all my career. I want to be a team player. I want to have players around me who can help the team. And if the team is successful, then the personal stats will come. But if there's no chemistry in the team, or older guys who are saying, okay, now it's time to work, you work. Now it's time to have fun, you have fun. But it's not like chaos, if you know what I mean. It's never good. It's never good. So you just have to have the right mix of players, which UPI did this year, with characters, especially. And sometimes you might have a not as good as player you wanted, but his character brings a notch in a locker room that helps others to be better. So if you know what I mean. So I'm just saying we have a good mix of characters.
The one interesting thing that Žiga Pavlin alluded to, and I love the way how he described it, players that are able to kind of stand up and deliver a thunderstorm to the other players when things aren't going well. How many thunderstorms have there been this year in Olympia's locker room?
I remember a couple of them. It's nothing special. It's just like it comes. Like yesterday would be a good thing to have like. No, yesterday was not the right time to make a scene or to yell or to point fingers to somebody, because we're in situation we can't do that now. But it was a couple times, especially in the beginning of the scene when we were still in that learning process, how this team should look, and guys were not on the same page and doing mistakes they shouldn't. And then mostly me or Pancho are stepping up and raise the voice. And it's nothing personal. It's just getting better as a team. And I think with months now together, the younger guys understand that it's not personal. We just want to get better as a team and as individuals. So those guys will have to learn, or they did learn a lot this year. And it's all good.
We're going to talk about you and your very successful career in a bit, but I want to take the time to, as this is a program that's listened to by a lot of fans around the league, especially Austrian fans, and not everybody knows a whole lot about this Olimpija squad. They'll hopefully know what you're all about in the pre-playoffs and maybe even after or during a long playoff run. But there are so many interesting players on this team, and probably no one more interesting besides yourself than your line mate as of recently. Bine Mažić, a 21-year-old defenseman. You two are one of the more interesting defenseman pairs, the 38-year-old, the 21-year-old, a 17-year age gap. And he's been one of the very pleasant surprises after his return to the league, or him coming to Ljubljana. How is it playing next to him?
It's going to be hard to not hard to say, but it's going to be maybe weird to hear that. But it's an honor for me to play with a talent like that. And I'm really happy that he took that step coming back to Ljubljana, not just because of helping us, getting us better as a team, but for his career. I think it's good to be in a squad when he can get the ice minutes, he can get the opportunity, power play, PK. Like, this is a men's league. This is not like some kind of, this is a good league, and I think it's good for him to be here and to get those minutes, to get those games in his legs. And he's a big talent for Slovenia, and I think it's going to be a good thing.
I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've seen a couple of games where indeed stands out, and we don't want to rush this because there are so many different career trajectories, so many different ways a career can go. But haven't played next to him and haven't seen him live so many times. What's the ceiling for a talent like Bine Mažić?
I don't know. He'll have to find out that. But right now he's doing all the hard work off the ice. He's a smart guy. He's listened to the older guys, and he's just in a learning process, and he's open-minded. Like he's not like this new generation, just individually, like locked inside and just go his own way. But he's listening and he's working hard, and he's got all the tools to be one of the best Slovenians defensemen of all time. So. He's still got the long way to go, but he's got everything. So if he's smart and the injuries avoid him, he can be really good.
He can be one of the best Slovenian defensemen, says one of the best Slovenian defensemen. High praise. So next time, to all the fans out there, if you watch an Olimpija game, look out for number 7 next to number 17. Another player I want to talk about who's leading the league in an interesting category is your goaltender, Lukáš Horák. One of the pleasant surprises too. He's the goalie with the most shutouts in the win2day Ice Hockey League. The record of 16 games won, 17 games lost wouldn't suggest that he leads the league in shutouts, but when he turns it on, he turns it on. When do you know it's one of those nights where no shot will get past Lukáš Horák?
Yeah, it's just, it's funny. He's a really humble guy and not really self-confidence at times, I would say. I tell him all the time he should be more cocky than he is, you know. He's really like a humble guy, nice guy, one of the nicest person I met in my career. And on top of that, he's a great goalie. So he's helping us a lot. He had I don't know how many games, even those what we lost, he gave us a chance till the end that we stayed in a game. So he's a big part of our winning thing with what we got this year, and he's the biggest reason we're in a playoff position right now, or pre-playoff. So yeah, he's for sure first star of the team.
And then there's Trevor Gooch, an import player on Ljubljana, got here from Denmark. He's the 4th best scorer in the league, the 3rd best goal scorer. He single-handedly won Ljubljana a couple of games just with his scoring prowess. What made him so successful this year?
First of all, we all knew that Trevor is a offensive guy, like really skilled guy. He's got the nose for the goals and assists, everything. And the second thing is Upi gave him free hands, open hands. You can do whatever you want in offensive zone, and that just gave him like another or extra gear to do that. So it's a lot about Upi giving him that space. And on the other hand, it's a lot on him that he took it and just led us to a lot of games when we won at the end with his offensive-minded game.
One last player that we need to talk about then. At the very beginning of this conversation, I described you, again, with all due respect, as the elder statesman on the team. But there's also a guy named Tian Heber on the team. He's Andre Heber's son, someone you played together with many, many years ago on
He's
Olimpija.
his brother. That's his brother.
It's his brother. It's not his son.
No, that's his brother. If you're talking about Andre Heber, who's now in Klagenfurt as equipment guy.
Yeah, now I'm confused. Okay.
Tian Heber is the brother.
Yeah, he's his brother. Jesus, he could be his son.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's his brother.
That is my mistake. Holy moly!
Yeah, that's a good thing. You learned something today.
Well, I'm learning so much thanks to you. I just wanted to say, how does it feel to play on a squad where someone's son is, but it's his brother? That is indeed a huge age gap. Holy moly!
The thing is that when I see Tian on the other side of the locker room, I remember first time I played for Ljubljana. I don't know how many years ago. I have a picture in my phone. I'm holding him in my hands. He was like 4 or 5 years old, and now he's my teammate. So then I realized that I'm old. It's time for me to move from the locker room.
I mean that would have been the natural follow-up question if Tian indeed were Andre's son, and he's now glad that we figured out that he's his brother. But I wanted to ask you, and also because there was Jaromir Jagr's jersey retirement yesterday in Pittsburgh, and it's brought back so many memories. And at 52, he's still going strong. It looks like he could compete in a National Hockey League. But has there been ever a time, and you're at the later stages of your career, has there ever been a time where you thought, okay, I'm kind of old? Is it that Tian Heber image that you just described?
Yeah, I got that feeling almost every day when I see these young guys with no worries and just being goofy in the locker room. And I remember those days when I was that age, but it goes so fast. This hockey career. And all I'm trying to say to these young guys, enjoy it. Work hard, because this hockey career goes so fast. It's you turn around and you're 38. And I just remember it was yesterday when I was that young guy coming into the big locker room. So yeah, it's fun. It's funny how fast it goes.
You know what? This is the perfect segue into something that I asked Žiga Pavlin too. I asked him, how would you describe Žiga Pavlin? What's special to know about him? And I really like how he answered the question. I really like what he sent back. Let's listen into Žiga Pavlin once more.
We know each other for, I would say, at least 15 years. So we've been through a lot, better and worse. We play with the national team together. We put through 2 Olympics and probably at least 10 or more, 10 to 13 World Championships, either that's elite group or the B group. So, stories here and there, of course, but the most important thing that I'll that I always remember coming from him. You know, it was always a support. Whenever I was down or a teammate was down, I can more talk about about myself when I was down. He was always there. He tries to communicate, to talk you out, to put out of it, to talk about it, and it helps a lot. And in a long term, when you have someone like him beside you, when you don't feel well or you have a bad day or bad week in the office, those kind of a positive vibe, positive words always helps. So yeah, I really appreciate that about him, and that's how we bond together for so long. We even though we played in different league, different teams, we always had that connection. We always had that contact between each other, our families, and we still have it. Now we're on the same team, and I think we're a great. We have a great bond. So I'll just try to maintain that.
Again, high praise from one of the consummate professionals, best leaders in the league, who's seen so many teams, who's played so much hockey, and saying, I always like it when great players talk about great players. I always take away a lot of things from those kind of conversations. After hearing this, and after Žiga alluding to you always helping along the young guys and always trying to stay positive, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever given to a fellow player, to maybe a younger player?
It's tough. Let me just first start. Yeah, me and Pancho's got a really good bond for so many years, and like he said, he's helping me a lot too. And without him, I don't think I would be in Ljubljana squad this year, because we talked for the last 3 years together, try to get me here. So I gotta thank. But on that second, or the question you gave me about the advice to young players, you just enjoy it. Like I said before, enjoy it and do everything you can to be a better person, better player. And because this hockey career is just long, like it lasts just for a couple of years, and sooner or later you're gonna realize that or you blew it or you did it. So I'm just saying, like, one more time, just enjoy it and work hard, and hard work will pay off for sure.
Let me get back to Žiga tried getting you onto Olimpija. How was the sales pitch from Žiga? What finally brought you back to Ljubljana?
No, we were just like, when we were in the national team, we were talking about this and that, and I asked, like, we were talking about Olimpija and what I always wanted to come back because of, like, being away for so many years, not seeing family. My son, last 2 years, I was seeing him maybe a couple days a month, so it was really hard. And we were talking about it, like, what this team is missing, and it would be really good that would come back, that he would have a support in leading this group, and that's what we did this year together. It's not like I'm the captain now, he's not doing anything, but he's helping me a lot, and we're doing it together. Like, it's a good support I got in him, so it's all good.
That's an interesting commodity. I don't think there's a team in the league right now who has got two great leaders, or two leaders as great as you and Žiga are. So if there were two C's to go around, you'd probably both wear them. Only one C on Ljubljana, that's on your chest. But I want to talk a little bit about your interesting career, especially the last decade. For people who haven't followed you since you left the old Ebel League at that time, you played games in Italy. You played games in Sweden's first and second league. You played games in Kazakhstan, of all places. You played games in professional hockey in the Czech first and second league, in the Slovakian league. You were on 10 different teams the last decade. How do you look back on this wild ride?
Yeah, it was quite a ride, I would say. I never thought that, first of all, I'm going to play in Sweden. As a guy from small town in Slovenia, my dream came true when I first played for Olimpija Ljubljana in Ice League or Able League at that time. So I thought this was my like a roof. So after that, problems we had in Ljubljana with paying guys, and we all know financial thing was going on with the old team. I decided to go, and I went to Sweden, and it was one of my best experience I had in my hockey career. Especially Sweden is such a great hockey country, and the people and everything around is so nice. I really enjoyed it there. And yeah, after that, going to Kazakhstan, it was a tough ride, I would say. I didn't accept hockey. I didn't like it at all. How people act in the club, not the people around, but the owners and those guys. So this is topic for another day. But yeah, I didn't like it there at all. But then Czech and Slovakia was interesting too. And again, two great hockey countries. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play in good teams, and yeah, I took a good trip around Europe. Yes.
I know it's a tough question, and it might take you a little to think about it. But what was the most interesting cultural experience of the countries that we just named, with vastly different, not only hockey mentalities, but mentalities in general? Swede is different than a Czech, and obviously it's Slovaks want to be a little bit different than the Czechs. Italians are their very own. I don't even know how I'd label people from Kazakhstan, not to use too many cliches, but the most interesting cultural experience that you yourself experienced along this ride?
I'm going to tell you just a brief thing. I went to Kazakhstan and I was at my lowest mental health wise, because it was in a club. First couple months, it was really good. Like, we played good, like coaches. The first coach really liked me, pushed me all different situation on the ice, blah, blah, blah. And then they fired a coach, and it was from day to night, or from black to white. It was totally opposite. The guy didn't like me. The guy started mobbing me. The guy started to curse me out in front of everybody, doing me, giving me extra workouts, blah, blah, blah. And I just went down. I went to some really dark places at that time. And I decided to leave. I left finally after leaving a lot of money there, just to give me a free pass to go. And I went to a totally opposite. I went to Stockholm to play for AIK. So that culture shock, going from Kazakhstan with I don't think I can say shit, but shit you going on there. Yeah. Coming to a nicest place probably in Europe, to Stockholm, with people who really try to help you, not just pretending that. It was a big shock for me, and a culture shock indeed. So we went from negative to positive, and I'm really helpful. I'm really thankful for that experience, because now I can appreciate every little thing we got here in Slovenia, because without that Kazakhstan experience, I wouldn't do that.
I've also brought you on to talk a little bit about the state of Slovenian hockey. You've been part of 9 World Championship teams, either A Pool World Championships or B Pool World Championships. You've been part of 2 Olympic Games. You had a tremendously successful career so far on the national team that will compete in the B Pool World Championships in Bolzano this upcoming spring, in April and May, against Hungary, Italy, South Korea, Romania, and Japan. So I think it's a good time to talk about the state of Slovenian hockey. Where does it stand right now?
Actually, it's better than some predicted, or I don't know what. There was a lot of negative words about Slovenian national team when the golden era is going to stop, when the top player is going to quit. But I don't think it's that bad because I see a lot of potential in Slovenian hockey players. Under 20 guys are doing really good job. I would say a lot of young Slovenian guys are playing either or in Ice Liga or they're playing in Sweden, Finland. So I think we got, for small country like Slovenia, we have a really good pool of hockey players coming up. So if they, like I said, if they're going to be smart and working hard, we have a bright future for sure.
And I don't think that, and I'm agreeing with you, I don't think that the golden era is about to end. But when you look at the national team, is it always trying to pull your thumbs that the LA Kings don't get to the playoffs, that Ante Kopita might give it another shot on the national team, or are you hoping for long and extended playoff runs for the Kings?
It was times before, not now. He's I don't know how is he with the national team, but it was times before, like 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when they were in a playoff run. Half of me was like cheering that they go all the way, and that other half was like, okay, lose these couple of games and come help us. And because we all know what Anže means for the national team, and if he's in a squad for a national team, this our team gets another face. So it's going from I'm not gonna say from Bobcat to Tiger, I would say.
Perfectly put. But I mean, when talking about the People World Championships in Bolzano, is that something on your radar, or is that something that will be or whether will be made a decision after the year if you're joining the squad?
No, I already made my decision after last year's APOL World Championship that I'm done with national team. For me, it was time to step out or give. It's not like it's gonna be a drastic change if I leave the team, but it's just like young guys deserve that to get a spot on the national team. And for me, for an old guy, it's time to give them space and everything that they start to building their national career. So I decided last year that I'm done with the national team, and I don't think that I'm going to be playing for national team again.
Which, of course, is very sad because you're still playing at such a high level. Anything that would coax you out of national team retirement, maybe a set of injuries to those young defensemen that you mentioned? Or is that the final decision?
I've never say never, but I'm 99.9% sure that I'm not going to play for national team anymore. But like, sport is such a unpredictable thing, and I don't think what should happen that I would join that team. And I think the coaches have sweet worries with how many Ds they have on their paper. So I don't think there's the one Žiga Pavlin going to change anything. So I think it's time for a new era.
We're curious how that new era indeed commences with the People World Championships, where Slovenia is taking part in this upcoming spring. That kind of brings me back to our league, to the organization of Olimpija, and a couple of things that I still wanted to hit to round out this conversation. Ljubljana has always been a valued member of the Ice Hockey League and the Erste Bank Ice Hockey Liga, but Ljubljana also stumbled into financial troubles a couple of times, had to pull out of the league. How stable, as far as you can judge, is the organization right now?
I don't know the financial part, but what I heard from people who are working in the club, we're stable. Like, I don't think Ljubljana was that stable at any time in Ice Liga, what it is right now, or what's going to be in the next couple of years. So this is really something that puts a smile on my face, because Ljubljana deserves that. And it's a great hockey town. You can ask anybody who played here, from the imports, local guys. This is one of the nicest places to be. And Ljubljana deserves to be in Ice Liga, and Ice Liga, I think, gains a lot with that Ljubljana is in the league. So it's just like going step by step, and we're on the right path. And I think once we get the full arena every game, I think the dream will come true.
And you're preaching to the choir. I've had the chance, and I was lucky enough to watch a couple of playoff games at Hala Tivoli. If this place gets rocking, it's indeed a sight to behold. But, and there is this but, I had a look at the attendances the last couple of games, and obviously it's been spotty throughout the year. Hala Tivoli seats 4,200 people. The average over the last 5 home games is at 1,500. So it's basically at 36% of its capacity. There's been better attended games. There've been games with not a whole lot of spectators. But the thing is, hockey used to be one of the hottest tickets in town in Ljubljana. Hala Tivoli for many, many years was a place that put goosebumps all over people's arms and necks and whatever. How do you get back to that?
First of all, there's one big thing that a lot of people forget. Jesenice are not in this league. Jesenice is like bread and butter for Ljubljana, and opposite the same. So if Jesenice, or when Jesenice were in this league and we played each other, it was in newspapers that 10 days before that game is going to be played, or tickets were sold out right away. I'm kind of missing those times, but at the same time, I understand that Slovenia is a small market, and it's hard to have 2 professional teams in that kind of money budget. But at the same time, I gotta say that Slovenian fans are really specific. They like to see the wins. They're not settled with losses. So once the team is doing bad, they're not gonna come and support you, and that's maybe the problem, because I can see it. Like, even if, let's say, Vienna this year, they're not doing well, but they have 7,000 people at the arena. So that's fascinating for me, and I wish it would be like this in Ljubljana, but it's not. It is what it is, so we gotta accept that and just show our fans they gotta come when we win. So right now, I don't have a fear that they're not going to be at the games when the playoff starts. So once Tivoli is full, that's another team coming from the locker room. That's for sure.
We're about to find out. The pre-playoffs will start in 6 days. Until then, there are 2 games to be played. One of the games will take place on Wednesday against Fehava, the other on Friday against the Blackwings. I said it in the beginning. There's still a slim chance of catching Pusztatal. You have the head-to-head tiebreaker against Pusztatal. You need to win both games. Pusztatal needs to lose both games the rest of the way. How much do you focus on your own games, and how often do you sneak peek at the score from Pusztatal?
If I'm honest, I don't look at all about the other teams or how they're doing and how many points are we behind. I'm just focusing on our games, and we got 2 games to go. At the end, I always say that, and I'm going to say it again. At the end of a regular season, you get points you deserve, and not more, not less. And at the end of the day, you're going to look where you are and where we stand and who we get. And I don't think any team who's going to pick us, or if we pick somebody, is going to have an easy job to do.
What do you want to see over the next 2 games? As every team tries to round itself into playoff shape and playoff form. Is there a point of emphasis that you wanna see from the team that you demand from yourself?
It's tricky because you want to do all the things you're going to do in playoffs, but at the same time, in the back of your head, it's still a regular season. You don't want to guys get injured game before the playoff starts. So it's always that, are you on the edge or not? So try to be 100%, go to work, if I can say that, last 2 games, but at the same time, you got to have it in the back of your mind that, okay, Sunday playoff starts, so you got to be ready for that game. So it doesn't matter Friday or Wednesday how it's going to end. Of course, you want to look sharp as you want to look in playoffs, but at the end of the day, what is going to matter is going to be on Sunday.
It's going to be a quick turnaround indeed, with a late game on Friday in Linz, and then just less than 48 hours later, probably an away game with another long bus ride, maybe waiting to Innsbruck, or maybe a closer one to Villach. But really interesting how that short turnaround is going to work. As we talk about work that needs to be put in, some of the numbers for Ljubljana this year are tremendous, and that explains why you're in the pre-playoffs. And some of them, from the outside looking in, let me assume that there's still some work to be done. And I've looked at your penalty killing that sits at only 72%. How much of work goes into the penalty kill and trying to improve a number that could cause problems during the playoffs?
Yeah, that number, what you just said, it's not good. So, but at the same time, playoff, we go from the zero, right? We go from the beginning. Everything, we can be 95% in playoffs, or we can be 100% in playoffs in PK. We're going to talk more, or we're going to focus more on the opponent when we get him for the playoffs. We're going to try to get as much as we can on what they're doing and stuff, and get extra careful, because in those 48 games, what you got in regular season, you got 12 opponents, and you got to adjust every time. So now it's going to be focused on one team, and I kind of like that challenge, that we got to be better, and we will be better for sure. So
what's ahead for Olimpija is a best-of-3 series, not only for Olimpija, but for 3 other teams too. It's an interesting format because it's not been played that many times or that often. The league has only had it for 2 years now. This is going to be the 3rd year. How many best-of-3 series have you been part of?
Not many. I had a lot worse or harder formats in Czech Republic when it's called Barrage. So in Czech, you play, when we were coming up from the first league to Extraliga, we had to play quarterfinals in our league, semifinals in our league, and then finals were not played. And you played 12 games with the bottom 2 teams from Extraliga. So you got seven games. So that's 14 plus another 12 in less than a month against the top league teams. So that was the hardest format. So these 3 games this is going to be walk in the park. So if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is the dynamics of a series. One lucky or unlucky puck bounce, and you're already facing elimination, or you could eliminate the other team. How much more focus does that put on that one game? And I know it's a hockey cliche, we take it one game at a time,
yeah.
But the importance of that game one in a best-of-3 series.
It's huge. Every mistake will count. It's huge. And I just hope that we're going to be ready, and that all 25 guys have the same mindset. Okay, I can't screw this up, or because mistakes will happen. That's hockey. It's not like, if it would be no mistakes, it would be 0-0. So mistakes will happen, but just those honest mistakes we can live with. But those unnecessary those we have to eliminate and be on top of our game. And if we do that, we're going to be successful. I'm pretty sure.
I'm hoping that you guys can go on a long playoff run. Ljubljana in the playoffs is indeed a sight to behold. I've got one last question for you, and it brings me back to something that you said a little earlier in this conversation. When you look back on your career, you either blew it or you find out you did it. Whenever your tremendously successful career ends and you look back on it, you did it, right?
I did it, but at the same time, if I would have somebody pushing me like I want to push now the young guys, it would be, I don't know if it would be other outcome, but it would change my mental preparation, or I don't know how to say it, to become a hockey player or way before I did, if you know what I mean. I mature as a hockey player late in my career, not when I wanted to, you know. So if I would have that guidance in some older players, which I didn't, would be maybe different. But I'm proud of my career and wouldn't change it for anything.
You should be proud of your career. The best thing about it that it's still ongoing. You're the one providing the guidance needed to a lot of young up-and-coming players. Really looking forward to seeing you play in the pre-playoffs. So thankful that you took an hour out of your off day to talk hockey with me. Learned so much about Slovenian hockey. Probably nothing more important than Tijan and Andrej are brothers and not a father and son connection. Thank you so much for doing this. Looking forward to talking to you down the road.
Hey, no problem. It was a good time.
win2day Hockey O'Clock.
Kurz durchatmen bei diesem Wahnsinn. Und das ging rasend schnell. Der Traum vom Finale ist erfüllt. Mittendrin statt nur der Ball. Fans stimmungsvoll und hoffnungsfroh. Nice move.